Welcome everyone. If you're watching this video, you're probably interested in taking a Lightroom workshop from RMSP. And the purpose of this video is to talk about the two different versions of Lightroom that Adobe has and why you might want to use one and why you might want to use the other. So the two versions that are currently out there are Lightroom Classic and Lightroom CC. And both versions have their own advantages, their own disadvantages, and really they're made for completely different types of people. So what I want to do in this video is break down which version might be the right choice for you. Now, I want to start by saying a couple things. One, if you've been using Lightroom through the years and you now want a refresher course, the version that you've been using in years past is Lightroom Classic. That's the new name for old Lightroom, the Lightroom that we've been using for the last 5-10 years. So if you have experience with Lightroom in years past and you're looking for a refresher, you're going to want to pick Lightroom Classic. If you're new to the game, you've never played with Lightroom, you have a little bit of a choice on your hands. And you probably want to ask yourself some questions and do some thinking. The first thing I want to say though, if you're new to the game, is you want to pick one. Don't try to use a little of one and a little of the other. You want to decide on one version of Lightroom to learn, one version of Lightroom to use. And that's why we have classes that either teach Classic or either teach CC. When you start to learn both programs, you start running into problems. So let's talk about the advantages, disadvantages, why you might want to use one over the other. The first thing I want to talk about is where your images are stored. In Lightroom Classic, images are stored on a hard drive, whether that's your internal hard drive or your external hard drive, whatever it happens to be. That photo storage is a physical, tangible location. You can move your images from one place to another, you can do all those things, but the images live on a hard drive. That's for Lightroom Classic. Lightroom CC, on the other hand, images are stored in the cloud. And that comes with its own advantages for sure. Like your images are now accessible on many different devices in Lightroom CC. Your images are backed up automatically on Adobe servers. That's pretty cool. But if you have a slow internet connection or maybe no internet connection at your house and you don't want to be tethered to a cloud-based image storage, I would stick with Classic as it offers that localized option. So that would be the first difference for me is CC, your images are in the cloud. Classic, your images are on a hard drive. So that's a very important thing to understand. Second thing is where you like to do your editing. Are you someone who likes to edit on a laptop or a desktop on a desk in a more traditional environment? That's what Classic lends itself to. It's really built around the one or two computers, nice catalog, like very simple, very straightforward way of doing things. CC, on the other hand, is more of the, oh, I want to do a little editing on my phone today, and then a little editing on my iPad, a little editing on my computer. I want to be able to have that freedom in what I'm doing. And that is huge. Like if you're a photographer who wants that freedom and that ability to edit multiple places, CC is definitely the option. Although you have to remember that the storage, the way that you're able to edit on your computer or tablet or phone or whatever it is, comes with your images being stored on the cloud. So those two things come together. So localized kind of desktop traditional editing, that's Classic. And if you want more of editing on your phone or your iPad or your computer, whatever it is, that's more CC. One thing I've already touched on, but I want to mention it again, is file backup. If you choose Lightroom Classic, you are on your own for backing things up. Now, in the class that we have in our workshop, we're going to teach you how to back up your photos. So that don't worry about that. If you choose the Classic route and you're worried about backing up, it's as easy as buying another hard drive and being sure that everything from one hard drive is copied over to the other one. And we'll walk you through all of that in class. But with Lightroom CC, that backing up is automatic. Because things are stored on the cloud, things are backed up automatically on Adobe's servers. So if you want more of the like, don't think about it, that's definitely a positive for Lightroom CC. Again, so many little differences, it's going to be hard to pick, but we're going to keep going. Let's talk about another difference. Next difference we're going to hit is the streamlining and the feature set in each program. So, first of all, Lightroom CC has a more limited feature set to Classic. You can't do everything in CC that you can do in Classic. Classic's more feature rich, but alongside of the feature richness definitely comes usability downsides. It's easier to use Lightroom CC. In fact, you'll notice that our CC workshop is 2 days long instead of 3 days. That's because there's less in that program and it's also easier to learn. but you don't get all the features. So if you're one of those people who wants every little feature, wants to be able to do as much as possible in Lightroom, Classic is your go-to. But if you want that more streamlined approach, go with CC, as it's going to take some features out that you don't necessarily need in favor of making things easier to use. So that's definitely that route there. The final thing that I'd like to talk about difference-wise is how you find your photographs. So in Lightroom Classic, if you've been using photo editing software, really of any kind over the years, you'll probably be used to things like keywords and file naming and metadata and things like that. All of that's the same in Lightroom Classic. Classic has a very advanced keywording feature, things called collections. You can do folder organization, file renaming, metadata edits, all of those things very easily in Classic. It's very manual, but it works. On the other hand, Adobe is researching and playing with more artificial intelligence features in CC, to the fact where it can actually detect what is in your photos and keyword them and label them for you, which is a pretty cool feature, although it gets some mixed reviews. You know, obviously it's not perfect. AI is analyzing your images and telling you what's there. So again, I think we're getting into that same routine of the more easy system is CC, but the more robust manual system is Classic. And that's kind of how I want to end this video. If you're a professional photographer and you are looking to be as professional as you can be and have full control over your images, I would recommend wholeheartedly that you go with Lightroom Classic. I think it's more robust, it offers more features, it's harder to learn, but that's why you take a class, right? I would recommend that. On the other hand, if you're a hobbyist photographer and you like taking photos of your kids and you like taking photos of your trips with your family, stuff like that, go with CC. It's so much easier. The ability to import photos on your phone or your iPad or whatever it is and look at them on your computer, that is super slick. So honestly, I think it depends what your goal is as a photographer. In our professional intensive program, we teach Classic because Classic is a more professionally driven workflow. But we definitely want to make the option open with our workshop on CC for those folks who don't necessarily need those features. And I honestly would say that most photographers would be really happy with CC. So the decision is yours, obviously. That's just breaking down the differences between the two programs. I want to end by saying yet again, pick one program. Don't try to use both. And also, this video is not the end-all be-all. There's a lot more resources out there from Adobe, from other people making videos, from articles, everything that compare and contrast the two versions. So I wouldn't use this as like the end-all be-all, oh, Forrest said I should use this, so I'm going to use it. Use this as a tool to make your decision, but definitely look at resources elsewhere. Lightroom Classic, 3-day workshop, Lightroom CC, 2-day workshop, both awesome, both for totally different people. So make your decision, and we hope we will see you in one of those classes.